Via Digital YouTube channel, Microsoft SQL Server tutorial part 2. Today we are going to discuss about what is SQL Server Management Studio and how we can connect to the Microsoft Server Studio, and what are the authentication types we are using to connect to the SQL Server Management Studio. First, we should know what is SQL Server Management Studio, how we can get. After installing the SQL Server software in our machines, we can get SQL Server Management Studio. For this Management Studio it's a client tool to get to connect to the databases via SQL Server Management Studio. First, we can discuss what is SQL Server Management Studio and getting started with the SQL Server Management Studio and what are the authentications.
This conference will now be recorded.
Hello dear friends, welcome to Via Digitally YouTube channel SQL Server tutorial. Today I am going to discuss about what is SQL Server Management Studio, how started with the SQL Server Management Studio, and what are the authentication types we can use. First, what is SQL Server Management Studio? SQL Server Management Studio is a client tool and not the server by itself, because in the real-time environment, observe, in real-time environment we have a centralized system. In this system we can maintain the database. In this database we can maintain tables in the tables, but in the real time we can observe we have multiple developer machines, like developer machine 1 and developer machine 2, and we have 3 and we have 4. But at a time, how we can connect to the centralized DB system? In this centralized DB system, we can use to connect via SSMS. It's nothing but a SQL Server Management Studio. Through this studio, we can developer machines. We can use this tool, SQL Server Management Studio tool, and connect to the centralized database server. So in this tool, we can use for connecting to the SQL Server Management database server. How we can started with this tool? Like after installing the SQL Server software in our machines, directly we can go to the Windows Start button and check what are the versions we are installing the SQL Server in our machines. We can get the folder. In my machine, I am installing the SQL Server 2017. If you are installing SQL Server 2012 or 2014 or 2016, you can get separate folders like this. But now I am installing the SQL Server 2017. Now after installing the SQL Server 2017, I am getting the SQL Server Management Studio. Either you can directly go to the folder, you can open the SQL Server Management Studio, or search, you can type SSMS. That's a shortcut name, SQL Server Management Studio. Now you can click on SQL Server Management Studio. We can get like this. When you first start the Management Studio, you are presented with the connection dialog box. It's nothing but a connected to server. In this dialog box, we can get multiple options. One is server type, second one is server name, third one is authentication. Now we can go step by step. What is server type? Like server type is nothing but we have multiple uh, types of server types. In a one system we can install multiple instances. Now we can observe in the database engine, it's nothing but a connect to the database. And what are the below three respectively services? One is analysis services, and second one is reporting services and integration services. We can, all these three is part of an business intelligence, and above one is the SQL Server database engine services. Once you can, now we can choose the database engine services. Later you can go to the analysis service, reporting services, integration services if you want to learn MSBI part. In analysis service we can call it as SSAS, and reporting services we can call it as SSRS, and integration services we can call it as SSIS. And now, oh, now we can select the database engine. Now you can observe we have the server name. What is mean by server name? Server name is nothing but a which server you have to choose. Like in previous diagram you can choose the centralized database management server, right? In that server having some IP address or some machine name, that machine name we can give into the part of server name. In this session I am using my local machine. So local machine, I have installed the SQL server. I am creating a database in my local machine. So I can connect to the my local machine name or IP address, or we can use the dot represented into the local host. So I'm going to my uh, local machine name. Either you can go to the browser of servers, then you can choose the server name under the database engine, then click on OK, then uh, then go to the authentication part. What are the authentications? Simple example, authentication is nothing but a password, right? A simple example, you can take your mobile. How many types of authentications we have? One is pin number, second one is draw lines, third one fingerprint. But in database we have two types of authentications. How we can select the authentication? When we are installing the SQL server software in our machines, first we can choose which authentication mode we have to install. We have two types of authentication modes. One is mixed mode authentication, second one is SQL server authentication. Mixed mode authentication is combination of Windows authentication mode plus SQL server authentication. But now when you choose the Windows authentication mode, it does not require to provide the username and password. Directly it will map with your Windows users accounts. So Windows authentication never asks to username and password. But whenever you are trying to connect SQL server authentication, you can provide login name and password. At the time of installation you can provide the login name as master login name as SA, and password you should provide that part, but it's a case sensitive. That means if you can provide the capital letters, you can give only capital letters. If it's a combination of capital plus small letters, you can give the same as it is in the password part. So as of now we are going to the Windows authentication mode. Once you can select the Windows authentication mode, then you can click on connect. Automatically it will connect to the centralized DB server. Now it will connect to the my local host DB server. Now you can observe is the instance name. What I have highlighted in this part, it's a instance name. You can observe here, this is my machine name, and which version I have installed my machine, and what are the machine name. Now in this part we can observe, once we can connect to the server, we can first we can observe the object explorer. As object explorer can contains databases. Under the databases we have database names and tables, and views, programmability, functions, triggers, and we can observe the security part. We can provide the security to the users, which user want to connect to the particular server, which user wants to access the particular database, we can cover under the security part. And what are the server objects, what are the linker servers, and replication, polybase, always ion availability management. Basically by using this SQL server management studio tool, we can use to create, edit and delete databases and database related objects. Objects is nothing but a tables, stored procedures, functions, triggers, like indexes. All this part is nothing but an under the database objects. And by mainly using this tool, a user can query the database using T-SQL. Example, if we want to communicate with the another person, if we want to communicate with another person, how we can communicate? By using language. Language is nothing but either English or Telugu or Hindi. We can connect to other person, we can ask a question, then he can give you an answer. At the same way, this tool will be act as a mediator between the user and the database. User can ask a question, is nothing but a query. User can ask a query to the database, and database will read that query in the ANSI standard format, then provide the result to the end user. This tool mainly to create a database, or modify the data, or read the data, or write the data. In this tool we have multiple components. One, you can observe, we have a object explorer. Object explorer contains instance name, database related information, and jobs related information we can maintain. And how we can write a queries? In this query, first we can select the new query option. In this new query option, when you click on the new query option, it will open the white dialog box beside the object explorer. You can observe object explorer beside the object explorer. First, when you can click on the new query, automatically it will be connected to the master database. Now you can, whenever you can write a query, automatically that data will be read it from master database. If you want to change the, if you want to read the data from any other databases, first you can change the database name here. Then you can observe, in this new query it will read or write or modify or delete all the data in the database part. Then what is execution plan, what is include execution plan, what is show live query statistics and client statistics, and what are the options we have used. And you can observe here we have a database engine query, and MDX and DAX, XML. All the parts is a part using by the SQL Server Management Studio. But how we can open the existing script files? Just you can observe the folder. In this menu bar, open file. Once you can click on open file, it will open your machine drives. Just you can select the script what you want to open in uh, SQL Server Management Studio, then click on open. Automatically that script will be open your existing connection SQL Server Management Studio. In this way, we can use SQL Server Management Studio to connect to the servers. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe my channel. We'll meet in the next video.